السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. تقبل الله أعمالنا وأعمالكم في شهر رمضان المبارك. This is our ninth class, Akhlaq. Inshallah, today we will cover the topic of contentment, al-qana'ah. We start, inshallah, with dua al-faraj for the Haysi appearance of Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشفي صدر الحسين وظهور الحجة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد سيد المرسلين وخاتم النبيين وحجة رب العالمين المنتجب في الميثاق المصطفى في الضلال المطهر من كل آفة البرية من كل عيب المؤمل للنجاة المرتجى للشفاعة المفوضة إليه دين الله. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أخته العقيلة زينب وأخيه أبا الفضل العباس ورحمة الله وبركاته. Another Sunday morning in Sydney, Australia. Unfortunately, it's very cold. We just entered, I think, in winter. It's becoming very cold. In your time, it might be still Saturday. We are ahead than anyone else of the brothers and the sisters that participate in these classes, in the pre-Hawza classes. The today class topic that I want to cover is the topic of contentment. Al-qana'ah, contentment. A very important topic that I see we need it in this time and age. Especially what's happening right now. There is, unfortunately, some people that have hirs. Hirs is the opposite of qana'ah. Hirs is greed, and we saw it in the beginning of the pandemic. If you watched the news, there was hirs, greed when it came to some essentials. For example, unfortunately, in some countries, people were, jumping up and down for some toilet papers, and they were fighting for some hand sanitizers and house cleaning supplies. And I'm not talking about stuff that if you don't have, you die. I'm talking about toilet paper. It's human nature when it comes to dangerous situations. Everyone is different. Some people, they react to the dangerous situation with rationality. They look at the surroundings, they see what is needed. They don't just jump into having this kind of hysteria, this kind of greed, and not helping others. Greed can destroy a person. It can be any greed, and that greed can destroy a human being's life. And you have, of course, the other thing, and that is you have the opposite of greed, of course, is Al-Qana'a. Qana'a is contentment. And today we want to share this lesson. The lesson today is covered in the book Akhlaq al-Adab al-Islamiyya by Hayat Muhammad al-Amin. It's a good topic to talk about. I'm just trying to get the screen up and running. Share the PowerPoint with the brothers. Just a delay. Oh, here you go. So, al-qana'a, contentment. You find the definition of qana'a وهي ضد الحرص وكلها مدح وشرف وعز للنفس وحرية لها. So it's a positive side of a human that if he possesses qana'a, it is the opposite of hirs, of greed. وهو الاكتفاء بقدر الحاجة والضرورة من المال وغيره من أمور الدنيا. وهي صفة فاضلة وهي من أعظم الوسائل للوصول إلى السعادة الأبدية. والقنوع مرتاح البال متفرغ للاشتغال بأمر الدين وسلوك طريق الآخرة. So what does it say here? وهو الاكتفاء بقدر الحاجة. اكتفاء means that when I see my need, my family's need is this. I need some certain types of, let's talk about food, for example. This is our need. We don't need more than that. We don't need to exceed buying more of this. What I bought is enough, and that is بقدر الحاجة والضرورة من المال, even with wealth, with money. وغيره من أمور الدنيا. وهي صفة فاضلة. So صفة فاضلة means what? It means that this is a good feature if a human being possesses. If it's a good صفة, it's a good characteristics of a human beings have this. So وهي من أعظم الوسائل إلا للوصول إلى السعادة. So it's a way that gets you to happiness. And we will talk about that, inshallah. That how could this bring you to happiness? وَالْقَنُوعْ مَرْتَاحُ الْبَالِ. And the person who is contentment, he possesses qana'a, he's qanu', we say that in Arabic. وَالْقَنُوعْ مَرْتَاحُ الْبَالِ. His mind is at ease because he knows, I don't need more than this. I'm not going to go into difficulties to buy more or accumulate more, or fight my way through life to cheat, lie, do all sorts of things to put more and more and more, and thinking, well, if I have more, I'm going to be happy. So متفرغ إلى الاشتغال بأمر الدين وسلوك طريق الآخرة. So what does this do if a person is qanu'? One of the good things about this is that the person who is qanu', who possesses contentment, he focuses on the hereafter. He doesn't focus on this life because he sees this is all I need. So there is no need for me to spend another 10, 20 years working and adding to what I have, adding more and more and more, and thinking, well, that's gonna be making me, safer living this life. And we will speak about that, why people are greedy. If you look at greediness, and the reason that people are greedy, you find that there are different types of that. That contentment is an emotional state of satisfaction. Yeah, you are satisfied with life. You're satisfied. So alhamdulillah for what Allah has given me. It is an emotional statement of satisfaction that can be seen as a mental state, maybe drawn from being at ease in one situation, body and mind. And if you can see from the picture there, you can see that everyone in the surrounding, they are not happy, they are sad. But if a person who has qana'a, who is content of what he has, he is happy. She's happy, even though they don't have that much. But they are what? They have come to a conclusion that this is enough for me. And Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, I'm going to be happy with this. So on the other side, you find the ones that are greedy. So the question here is raised, that is, why do we need too much? Why do we need that much in life? It's for different reasons. I list some of them, and if there is more, you can let me know. To fill a void. There is a void, we want to fill it. We can't get enough. We can't get enough. We think that if I have more, I will be safer. How is that going to happen? If I have more and day of judgment comes, I have more of food, more of these essentials, I'm going to be safe. Same of what's happening now. In the beginning of the pandemic, and some countries that couldn't cope with it, some countries that they ran out of many things. For example, in United States, there were many stores they went through, and they still have the COVID-19 there severely in some cities, for example, in New York. And they were showing this newsreel on CNN that there was a person going through one supermarket after the other, and they were all empty. And why, he was asking, why are they empty? That I can't get, some bread, some milk, some toilet paper. And if you look at it, it's because of the people living surrounding that supermarket, or the people that are going to, for a search, hunting down some of the essentials for their house. In the pantry of the house, they have everything stacked up, that what they want to do is they want to have more, in case anything happens, in case we are in lockdown, in a sense that we can't even go out to look at the sky. So I have to be safe. My family has to be safe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to every supermarket I can, buy as much as I could, even if I have to throw my life savings away, just to have everything in the house, even more of what I need, just to be safe. So we can't get enough. The greedy person can't get enough. It's not that there is a cut-off point. There is somewhere that it's enough. They go into a place, they say, okay, this is enough. There is enough. There's a destination they want to arrive in. It's never that. It's what happens that this person, when he's greedy, he has hurts, there is no end to it. He's always going to be greedy. She's always going to be greedy. No matter what you give them. If you give them the whole world, he's asking for the next world. If you give them 1 million, he wants the second million. If you give them a house, he's asking for another house. If you give them a car, they're asking for another car. It doesn't matter what it is. Their nature is this, that they always want more and more and more and more. And is there a way that I can fill that void? No, it's never going to be filled. So that is the second one. We can't get enough. The third one is we see others having it, so we want to have it too. If we see some other people, they have something, we want to have it. Even if I possess that thing. We spoke about jealousy in our last class, if you remember. It's when you look at other people, and this is what's happening in this time and age, we look at others, we see who is going where and doing what, so I can, do what they're doing, or even better. If they're going to a country for a visit, I wanted to go to that country for a visit. I wanted to have that vacation. I wanted to have that car. I want to have that house. We're always in a competition with one another. Sometimes there's a silent competition we don't even know. But in our nature, especially the ones who are greedy, when they see others having it, they want to have it too. And if they see others having it, they want to add to their possessions more and more, thinking, well, if I have more of this, I'm going to be happier than anyone else. So this is the last one that you see. We seek happiness with more. We think this is going to make us happy because of my positions. If I have more, I'm going to be happy. And it's not true. It's never true. It doesn't make you happy, no matter of how much you have. It's what emotion you have. And this is what qana'a is. Qana'a is that even if you have less than anyone else, but from inside, within you, you say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen for all of this, and you just be content, be in a state of qana'a, then you have happiness. But having more is not going to make you happy. Having more is never going to make anyone happy, no matter what that is. So to fill a void, number one. Two, we can't get enough. Three, we see others having it, so we want to have it too. And of course, four, we seek happiness with more. And of course, we always think, okay, there's another one that I haven't listed here. This just came to mind. We think if we possess that, whatever that is, it's going to make our life better. And that is what, if you look at the commercials, when they want to sell something, they tell you that if you buy this product, it's going to make your life much better, no matter what the product is. They want to sell it to you. And the consumer, what they think is, yes, if I buy that product, it's going to make my life much better. In reality, it doesn't. If a household, they have that attitude of greed, they will never be happy. If the woman is greedy, or the man is greedy, or the children are greedy, they just like to add to whatever they have more and more and more, thinking this is going to make me happy, this is going to get me safe, this is going to, fill the void. It's never going to be any of that. So this is what is some of the reasons of why we need more, and we think more it's better. So qana'a is contentment, and health is greed. Ahadith about this, going to the ahadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wa salam, we find Amir al-Mu'mineen, the commander of the faithful, who says, Al-Qani' ghani wa in ja'a wa ara. Beautiful hadith, once again from the Imam, salamullah alayh. He says, Al-Qani' ghani wa in ja'a wa ara. Qani', the one who is in a state of contentment, he's always wealthy. Ghani means what? He, even if he's hungry and he's poor, because he's in a state of contentment, he's qanu'. He is always going to feel like he's wealthy. He's always going to feel like he's wealthy. On the opposite, the one who is greedy, if you look at him and you look at their behavior is like a person who is always in a search of something, and they never feel they are wealthy. But the qani', the Imam said, Al-Qani' ghani. Ghani means wealthy. Ghani. Wa in ja'a means what? When he's hungry. Wa ara. Ara means he doesn't have enough clothes to wear. He doesn't have enough to wear. Yes, but he, from within, eternally, he feels like what? He feels that he is wealthy. And he feels that he is wealthy all the time, even though he has less than anyone else. But he has that feeling, that emotion. Alhamdulillah, this is enough for me. Even though this is less than anyone else, he has that of an attitude, that behavior, that this is enough and I am what? I'm satisfied. وعنه عليه السلام, Imam Ali again says, من لم يقنعه اليسير لم يقنعه الكثير. What does that mean? The Imam again says this beautiful word, this ahadith, and the Imam means it. What he says is, he says, من لم يقنعه اليسير, who is not satisfied with what he has, he will never be satisfied even he has more. It doesn't matter how much he has, he will never be satisfied. من لم يقنعه اليسير لم يقنعه الكثير. من نتائج القناعة. So what are the results of a person being satisfied all the time? Number one is عز. العز. Number two, الاكتفاء والرضا بما عنده. Bear with me because I will go through all of them. الاكتفاء والرضا بما عنده. Number three, صلاح النفس. Number four, القناعة راحة. And number five, حساب يسير يوم القيامة. So what's the first one? العز. عز means what? عن علي بن أبي طالب عليه أفضل الصلاة والسلام ثمرة القناعة العز. The result of contentment is pride. And what does pride mean? Pride means having a feeling of being good and worthy. And if you look, we have two. We have the negative, of course, and we have the positive side. The adjective is proud. The word pride can be used in a good sense as well in a bad sense. In a good sense, it means having a feeling of self-respect. That is what contentment brings you, self-respect. You are respecting yourself. You're saying this is enough. And you don't put your hand for people to give you more of a handout. But a person who's not content, he's not satisfied with whatever he has, is always begging others for more so he can get more. People can be satisfied with their achievement. So this is it, alhamdulillah. This is my life, alhamdulillah. I don't have to have the state-of-the-art vehicle to drive with. I don't have to have a big 1,000 square meter house, mansion to live in. No, I don't have to have any of this. I don't have to have any sort of things that I think with this, I'm going to get happiness. Happiness doesn't come with having a position of anything. Happiness comes from within. If you're happy from your heart, with your heart and your mind, it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter of what your situation is. So what Imam Ali here is saying is ثمرة القناعة العز. As pride. You have pride of what you have. And you can see it. In many communities, you have two sorts of people. You see the greedy. They used to tell the story of this man back in Middle East that he was one of the wealthiest people. But when it came to people donating clothing and food, he used to be the first in line, even though he was the richest of them all in the town. But he used to be first in line to get that clothing, to get that food, to get that. And he will go home, put them in at his house, and he comes back again to get more. And I heard recently IKEA found that he does the same. He goes to the Salvation Army store to get his clothes. He can afford to buy any clothes he wants, but that's from within. He's never happy. They are never happy. It doesn't matter of how much they have. Happiness doesn't come from wealth. Happiness doesn't come from you having more. Happiness comes when you are sound in mind. When you are what? When you are satisfied. That's what the Imam said. ثمرة القناعة العز. الاكتفاء والرضا بما عنده. Happy with what they have. الاكتفاء والرضا بما عنده. He's satisfied. He said, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is what I have and this is enough. If you don't have that kind of a behavior, if you remember in our last classes, we spoke about shukr in two parts. We had two classes about shukr, the part 1 and part 2. And we said that in one of the ayat in the Quran al-Kareem, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ. There are few of my subjects, ibad, my servants, they are shakur. They are in a state of gratitude. They thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because what he sees or what he has is not enough. He sees others having more, so he wants more. So that's what qana'a is. Qana'a brings you satisfaction, brings you to the status of gratitude. Say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And this is what the The Imam said, always look at the people beneath you and don't look at the people above you. Because whenever you look at the people above you, you're not going to be satisfied. Always look at the ones who are beneath you, who have less than you. So you can see, Alhamdulillah, Allah chose me to have this, and this is enough for me. And if I don't have such and such and such, it doesn't mean that I'm not worthy to have them, but this is the ones were written for me, and the others that were not written for me. If you look at it from that picture, you can look at it from another picture, is that, well, how long I'm going to live in this life? If I don't have any of these in my position, is that going to make my life less, in this life, that I'm going to be living, for less time, or I'm going to be living for eternity with this? Anyway, this life is going to end. Ad-dunya mazra'atul akhirah. You are only here to plant the seeds and harvest them in the next life. You're here like a farmer. You have a piece of land. It's up to you. You want to add to this piece of land. You want to get more and more and more planted on this piece of land. And when it comes to the time of harvesting, you can harvest whatever you want. This is totally up to every individual in life. Is that, or what happens is you choose not to. You choose not to have any of that. You choose to do what? You choose to, asking for more. And you're never satisfied. And you're never going to be happy. And you're always seeking for something that is not there. That is never going to be yours. And what's that going to get you to you wasting all your life on what is never going to be yours in any way or situation. And then in the end, you see, well, I spent all my life, seeking something that is never going to be mine, and I forgot about the big picture, and that is the hereafter. A satisfied person looks at the bigger picture, that this is temporary. This is not going to be forever. This is going to be a few years, and that's it. And what the hadith said, that Musa ibn Imran spoke with his people, his ummah, and he started to talk to them about the age limit of the end of time. And he said to them, yes, in the end of time, everyone will be having, in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they're not going to live a long life. So one of the women that was sitting there, she said, how long? 70 years? Yes, 70 years. So this woman, she said to Musa ibn Imran alayhi salam, if I was there at that time, I will spend that time doing what? In one prostration, I will spend that time prostrating. So the time we have, the amount of time that we have, brothers and sisters, is very limited. So it's either we go in a direction of greed and look for more and more to get in this life and thinking this is going to get me anywhere, or we are satisfied and we think, okay, let me look at the bigger picture, and that is the hereafter. That's going to be for eternity. So the Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam says about al-iktifa wal-ridha bima indah, ثمرة القناعة الإجمال في المكتسب والعزوف عن الطلب. صلاح النفس، قال علي بن أبي طالب عليه أفضل الصلاة والسلام، أعون شيء على صلاح النفس القناعة. Your nafs, we spoke about that in our previous classes. The nafs always wants more. It's never going to be happy. Never ever going to be happy. The nafs. The nafs is the soul. The soul, if you give it more, it wants more. That's why Amir al-Mu'mineen salamullah alayhi even did not give the soul what is halal. What is halal wasn't even given to it. Why? Because the Imam wants to do what? He wants to control that nafs. Now, just imagine, you give to the nafs whatever is halal, and you give to the nafs whatever is haram. It's never going to say it's enough. It's never going to say what's enough. It's like a spoiled child. When you give the spoiled child a gift, he wants another gift. And whatever you give the spoiled child is going to say, no, there is better in the market. Why didn't you give me that? Because he's never satisfied with what they have. Nafs is worse. And we have a hadith that says the worst of the false gods, the worst of the false gods is the nafs. Because the others, the idols, the statues are made of, different sort of things. Some in the pre-Islamic era, in the time of Jahiliyyah, they made their statues out of wood, others out of rocks, some out of silver, gold, and some even out of food. So, but the difference is that it's a statue. It doesn't take pride that you are worshiping it. On the other hand, the nafs will be proud that you are what? Worshiping it. This is the worst of the false gods, because you are doing what? You're worshiping it. You're giving it whatever it desires, whatever it wants, and it is like a black hole. You can't fill it enough. Whatever you throw in it, it's gonna want more. So one of the ways that you can get that nafs, that soul, in line is what? It is by qana'ah. Qana'ah, satisfaction. You say, Alhamdulillah, this is enough. That's it. I don't want more. That's it. It's like a person who comes and he wants to eat iftar. He has a plate in front of him. He's going to have some bite here and there, and that's it. He's not going to sit down and eat the whole dinner table. That's never going to happen. Even if he's hungry, he's been fasting for 21 hours or 22 hours, whatever the time it is. Some countries now, they're fasting for 21 hours. So if he sits there on the futur and then he gets to his plate, he fills it up. At the beginning, because he's hungry, what he thinks is, let me fill it up as much as I can. So why? Because I'm hungry. I'm going to eat all of it. But when he puts it in front of him and he starts eating, he's not going to finish it. Why? Because he filled it up with more than what he needs. Maybe, he throws it out. But because of his feeling at the time, then the body itself says to him, this is enough. More than that, you are forcing it. It doesn't need that much. This is the amount of what you need. You don't need more than that. So why are you forcing it? Same thing applies for everything in life, brothers and sisters, that we want to give more than what we need. And we are being distracted by this, looking at the hereafter, akhirah. Looking at the akhirah. It doesn't mean that we don't seek good life. We don't go after good life. Definitely we must go after good life. We must be, having the best of the jobs, inshallah, living in the best of the neighborhoods. But to be distracted by the material things is not wise, because we're going to be always focusing on that side. For example, our brother told me the other day, I'm working from home, and until now, I haven't recited not even one page of Quran. Not even one page. I haven't even opened the Quran, because I'm more worried about paying my mortgage than reciting Quran. And I said to him, well, we've been friends for a long time. Can you afford to pay the mortgage for this month? Yes. For the next month? Yes. For the third month? Yes. 5? Yes. 6? Yes. Why are you not reading Quran? If you have everything, sorted out, and you have got the money to pay for another 6 months of mortgage, then why are you so worried? No, because I'm scared, I don't know if I'm going to be safe or not. So I have to have this. I have to get more, as much as possible into my account. And I'm losing the grip on what is more important. And that is the month of Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan, of what it possesses from the fada'il, reciting Quran al-Kareem, reading ad'iyah, me being occupied with what is not that important. And I already have it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I give you the rizq, the sustenance. And what I give you is going to be enough for you. If you don't have satisfaction, you are questioning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why you gave me less than anyone else, and why I'm not having enough. And that's what greedy people are. They want more. They're thinking, if I get more, I'm going to be among the 1%, be among the wealthy. So, salah al-nafs. What else does that bring you? Qana'a. Al-qana'a raha. Imam Ali afdhalu salatu wassalam, Imam al-Hussein says, Al-qanu' rahatul abdan. It is an eternal comfort. Person who is qanu', he's never going to be asking for more. And a person who is like that, he's going to be always happy. He's not going to look at other people's plates. He's never going to look at other people's lives. Always looking and spying at other people, what they're doing, where they're going. He's not going to have any of this attitude. The one who is satisfied, he's going to be what? With eternal comfort. The Imam Ali afdhalu salatu wassalam said, Al-qanu' rahatul abdan. حساب يسير في يوم القيامة. حساب يسير يوم القيامة. عن الرسول الكريم عليه أفضل الصلاة والسلام says أقنع بما أوتيته يخف عليك الحساب. The less you have, the easier and faster you pass. The more you have, is the person who wants to travel. If he has over, of his weight limit, he has to stand in line, put the bags, and I'm sure you've been in this situation. You went for a vacation to Middle East, for example, and you bought more gifts for people than it's needed, or for yourself than it's needed. So you have a limit. You have a limit. You have 35 kilos, 40 kilos on some airlines. I don't know if it's going to change after what's happening now with COVID-19. But you went over limits. You have the baggage of what you have, the weight is way over limit. So what happens here is you have to stand in line. You have to wait. You have to put the bags on the scale. And on top of this, you're going to be charged more. And the prices are ridiculous. They tell you about every kilo is going to cost you that much. Is it really worth it? You stand there for a moment and you think, it's really worth it? For bags of such and such, I have to pay that much. It's not worth it. That happens in the day of judgment, that when we are judged of what Allah has given us, don't think that it's only about haram. Some people they think, well, it's only about haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge us for everything that we have. في حلالها حساب وفي حرامها عقاب. For haram, Allah will punish us. And for the halal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be testing us. Hisab, there is a hisab. That I gave you that much, what did you do with it? So having less, it's much better, and it's in your good best interest to have less than to have more. Because you have more, you're going to be standing in line, you're going to be judged for everything that you have, and you're going to be tested and judged more than anyone else because you have more, and thinking, well, if I have more, I'm more comfort. It's not that. You have more, there's more responsibility. You have more position, you have more houses, more cars, more such and such and such. You have more responsibilities. Same thing applies in this life. When you have more, it's not going to make you happy in a sense, well, I have more, alhamdulillah, and it's more of a responsibility that you have to take. I have another house, I have to be renovating the other house, for example. I have another car, I have to take it to the service. It's always more of a headache than it's been a happiness. It's never going to be making you happy. It's going to always get you to do more to keep that in position. And that what is, that if a person is not qanu', is not satisfied, they are not satisfied, they're always going to ask for more, that is going to have with it more responsibility, with it more headache. And of course, this happens. Hisab yasir yawm al-qiyamah. If you are qanu' of what Allah has given you, you say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, this is what Allah has intended for me to have. I'm not going to be greedy asking for more than that. This is good, and I'm not going to go after more, because I know for me to have more, it's going to be more responsibility. And Allah is going to ask me why you haven't done such and such and such. So what is where you qana' is not advisable? Where is you have to have more of good deeds. You're never going to be happy if you have less deeds. For example, the month of Ramadan, I recited one juz' or one khatma. Is that enough? No. You have to be here greedy to have more of what Allah has given out in the month of Ramadan, of the hasanat, of the good deeds. Here, a person has to be greedy. We have another hadith that says, serving Ahlul Bayt Salamullah alayhim, serving Imam al-Hussein, you have to be greedy as well. When it comes to the month of Muharram, be greedy of what you do for the Husseyniyat, for the Mawakib, for the centers, for the mosque. Be much more greedy, because what is happening here, you are getting hasanat, and the more greedy you are with getting hasanat, the better for you than in the next life. Here you have to be greedy. Here satisfaction is not good. You're not going to be satisfied. Well, I recited one ayah, I recited one page of the Quran, I recited one juzu, and that's enough. No, more. Here greed is good, and satisfaction, qana'a, is not good when it comes to the next life. For this life, greed is bad, and satisfaction is good for this life, because what this life is, it's only temporary life, and it's only what this life is just a mamar. Mamar means a transit, that you are just walking through a hallway. You're not going to building in this hallway. You're not going to think, oh, I'm going to be here for ages. Looking at the people before us, our ancestors, all of them, they had the same idea that I'm going to be buying this house, I'm going to have this house, this is going to get me happier, it's going to make me more satisfied. And they bought more and more and more, and nothing happened, because they passed away, and the people after them passed away, and the people after them passed away. And the same house that one person 500 years ago was proud to own it, it changed the ownership throughout time until now. There's another owner who now thinks this is mine and it's not his. As we have a hadith that says, in the time of Isa ibn Maryam, a person was on a land and he was farming. He was a farmer. So an individual entered this farm, and he starts screaming at him, that, why are you on my land? Get out of my land. The person said, what do you mean? This is my land. This is not yours. So another person came and he starts screaming at the two, like, this is my land. How could you two be on my land? So Isa ibn Maryam intervened, and he asked them, who are you? The person said, this is my land. From when? He told him, this time of period, this was my land. The other person said a different time, and the third person, who was the youngest of them all, he said, now is my land. So Isa said to them, this person 100 years ago, he owned this land. He passed away. Allah brought him back to life, and he wanted to show him that, look, this is not your land. The next person who had the same idea 50 years ago, thinking this is my land, is not his land anymore. The third person had the same idea, and when he looked around, he said, wow, now I think it's mine. In a few years' time, it's not going to be mine as well. Definitely not. So looking at what life is only a temporary life. It's never going to be eternal. It's never been eternal for anyone. It doesn't matter who you are. Pharaoh, the Pharaoh, Ramses II, he called himself God. فَحَشَرَ فَنَادَى فَقَالَ أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى. Where is he now? You go to a museum, you pay a couple of pounds here and there, you enter the museum, and you see his body right in front of you. Allah wants to show you. This person said, فَحَشَرَ فَنَادَى فَقَالَ أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى. This person said, I am your Lord, I'm your God, I'm your creator. And look at him laying right there in front of you. People before and people after Fir'aun, they had the same idea, the same direction in life, that they thought this is going to be mine and my alone. It's never going to go into any other people's position. That's why when Sakarat al-Maut comes, when you are about to die or you are on your deathbed, the hardest thing for the person who's dying is that I'm leaving all this behind, it's mine, and it's never been yours in the first place to begin with. It's never been yours, never been yours. It was just given to you like a rent. If you go buy a rental car, get a rental car, the rental car is not yours. In the end of the day, you're gonna bring it back and give it back to them. It's never yours. It's never been yours. Same thing applies to everything in life. It's never meant to be yours for eternity. It was for a time period, for time frame. Allah says from that time to that time, He owns this. And that after that, no, He doesn't. لمن الملك اليوم لله الواحد القهار. Who owns all these? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لمن الملك اليوم لله الواحد القهار. When the day of judgment comes and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ends this life, everyone dies. He asks Israel to take the life of every individual. And Israel, the Malik al-Maut, he comes and he takes everyone's life. Allah then says to Israel, who's left? He said, me, you, Jibreel and Israfil. Allah says to Israel, now go take the life of Israfil and Jibreel. He comes and he takes the life of Israfil. And then when he sees Jibreel, the hadith says, he comes and he hugs Jibreel and Jibreel falls down dead. Allah then asks Israel once again, who's left? Me and you. Me and you, the creator of the universe. Allah then says, Ya Israel, now is the time that I take your soul away. I take your life. So the hadith says that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking the life of Israel, Malak al-Maut, when he reaches up to here, Israel screams that the whole world, his sound, his scream is echoed in, that from the pain of this, he says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if I knew of how painful this is, I will take it easier on the people that I took their life. Allah then takes Israel's life, and there's no one left except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah the Almighty. Allah then creates this sound. لمن الملك اليوم لمن الملك اليوم. Who is the king today? Because everyone comes and says, I'm the king, I'm the emperor, I own this house, this is mine, this is my position. It's like a child when you see them playing games and they fight among each other. If one took the other one's toy, and you look at them and you say, oh, this is just a toy. Same thing applies to us. It's just merely for a time period and that's it. So Allah creates this sound. This sound echoes around the universe. The hadith says for more than 100 years. It goes around and around. And then when it ends, Allah creates another sound. لله الواحد القهار. Who is the king of the kings? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is the creator? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All these lands that you thought you owned them, none of them was yours to begin with. They were my lands. They were mine alone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. So satisfaction brings us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Greed brings us back. And we forget about what is important. That's why we have one of the nata'ij, one of the good things about it is hisab yasir yawm al-qiyamah. And that is the end of our PowerPoint. We go to the questions, brothers and sisters. I hope we can cover them all. السلام عليكم وعليكم السلام طيب الله أنفاسك مشافى معافى دعونا لك يعني. Thank you, brothers. I just came back from the hospital actually a couple of hours ago, and I came straight here after home. Just had a quick shower and something to eat for suhoor, and I came to the office for delivering the lesson and doing some work for our project. We have a project to build a school, so this is for the akhirah. This is not for the dunya. I had some heart problems, so I was in the hospital for a couple of days since our last class on. So it was about 2 days I was there. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Jazakallah khair to you and your family. Okay, it's a question from anonymous, one of the brothers or sisters, I don't know. Thank you, Sayyid. Wa alaikum assalam, wa alaikum assalam. Could you please provide a lesson someday with detailed examples, someday on how to apply the teachings of managing anger or giving benefit of doubt, speaking good words, ignoring, being thankful, forgiving, when having to deal with small children and teenagers that show disrespect, frustration, not obeying. Jazakallah khair, inshallah. So, inshallah, it's a request by this brother or sister, inshallah. We spoke about this in the previous classes. It takes time for us to get better in with ourselves, if it's anger, the weaknesses we have. Everyone has a weakness. So another question says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Jazakallah khair to you and your family. Thank you. Question, please provide guidance on need for covering the head hair when hearing adhan or Quran recited by someone else, and also reading Quran. Is that for the ladies, I assume? Yeah, for the ladies, the hair must be covered during salat time. The only thing that can be exposed is the hands and the face. So the hair must be covered at that time. So inshallah, next class the next class will be next week on my Tuesday, your Wednesday. We'll cover that, inshallah. What is the appropriate way to want more things that are good, such as wanting to have a pious life and family? Well, I said greediness in these places, it's good. I'm talking about what is the material things. If I have one house, I want to have another. If I have a car, I want to have another car. If I have such and such, small things to the big things, that is not advisable. But piety, wanting good in this life, the good deeds, more having it is better. I will go to ziyarah not for Imam al-Rida salamullah. I go to ziyarah of all the imams, reciting Quran as much as I can, reciting dua al-iftitah, dua al-yastashir. That's why you see the mu'mineen, when you sit with them and they open the Mafatih al-Janan, the Mafatih al-Janan is way different than anyone else's, because the Mafatih al-Janan, the numbers of times they went through the book, you see that this book is worn out. As with the other people, when they will see the Mafatih al-Janan or Quran al-Kareem, no. So it's going to be what? It's going to be that this person must be looking at the mustahabbat, then filling up his day with mustahabbat and all that. Be greedy with what Allah is giving out, especially on the day, on the night of Qadr, Laylatul Qadr, khayrun min alfi shahr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though He made our life shorter now in this time and age, He has also given us opportunities to make up for it. Laylatul Qadr is one of them. Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. Laylatul Qadr is that you have one night that's equal to alf shahr, 80 years. Alf shahr, 80 years. Allah says on that one night, you can do what? You can change the destiny of your life. If you were one of the ashqiya, for example, one of the miserables, and you end up in hellfire, nastajiru billah, God forbid, on that night, you can change that. You can become one of the su'ada. السلام عليكم وعليكم السلام. Can I get the link to the book? Yes, inshallah. Send it again to the Telegram page. One of the brothers or sisters saying Salaam alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Can I ask whether you recite more Quran than dua during this holy month? Which du'as do you like to recite? Many things. Okay, we have ad'iyah in the month of Ramadan that we recite them, for example, dua al-iftitah. And I hope you all recited dua al-iftitah. If you don't know how to recite them, you can of course play them on YouTube and you can just read with them. Quran al-Kareem, nothing goes above Quran al-Kareem in any month, especially in the month of Ramadan. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. This is the month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed to us Quran al-Kareem. So this is the month that we have the opportunity to recite Quran as much as possible. So ad'iyah on the other hand, there are reinforcements. You add into it. You add into your hasanat. It doesn't mean one is better than the other, but of course Quran, nothing that goes above it. With ad'iyah of Ahlul Bayt salamullah alayhim, you're asking Allah mercy. You're asking Allah to for many things, to be blessing in your life. You're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you for your sins. So we have ad'iyah. Dua al-iftitah is one of them. Dua al-iftitah. Dua Jawshan al-Kabir that we recite on the nights of Qadr is another one. Dua Jawshan al-Kabir. Dua Jawshan al-Saghir we have. We have Dua Jawshan al-Saghir as well. We have Dua Abi Hamza al-Thamali. We have dua every single day of the holy month of Ramadan. If you look in the books of Ad'iyah, Mafatih al-Janan, for example, and alhamdulillah, nowadays you can just download the apps, Haqibat al-Mu'min, and we have other apps on Android and on iOS that you download them. It has all those ad'iyahs. They have categorized them and it's beautifully done. I have one of my speeches that I talk about only the du'as in the month of Ramadan. I think it's on YouTube. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a lot of opportunities that are all there. The days, the ad'iyah that we have for the days, and of course the salah. We have salah for every day. There's a prayer for every day. The more closer we get to the nights of Qadr, the ad'iyahs, they add to them. You can add to them yourself as well. For example, Dua Iftitah, read it every night. Every night you read it. If you miss one night, make up for the next night. Ziyarat Ashura, for example, in the nights, this night is really recommended, not only in the month of Ramadan, for every night, reciting Ziyarat Ashura. Dua al-Yastashir, I spoke about Dua al-Yastashir, I think he was when we spoke about Shukr. Dua Yastashir is what? It's Kanzun min Kunuz al-Arsh, also recommended in the holy month of Ramadan. So we have, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we have a lot of ad'iyahs that are in the books of Ahadith, in the books of ad'iyah supplications that a person can read. And on top of that, in the Quran al-Kareem itself, we have ad'iyah. In the Quran al-Kareem itself. The ad'iyah, the ayat, they start with Rabbana. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. This is in the Quran al-Kareem. We have other ayat that will start with Rabbana. It's a dua. So those are also covered. Inshallah, when we get closer to the nights of Qadr, I will have in some of the section of the lesson about the du'as that it is recommended. Inshallah, if not next class, the class after that. Yes, it will be uploaded on the YouTube channel, inshallah. I see there is a lot of questions here. Just a bit hard to go over all of them. How to strike balance between thinking and working towards the akhirah while also fulfilling our daily financial and work obligations on the earth. My sister is a doctor, so it's easier for her as she has a lot of goods in her everyday job. But what about those of us with useless jobs? We wasting now. I don't know what the question exactly is because it says the balance between thinking and working towards the akhirah. The, first of all, there's no useless jobs. It doesn't mean if you're not a doctor or engineer or whatever, you are not the person who's you're not worthy. The person who is working for to feed his family. الكال لعياله كالمجاهد في سبيل الله. You are doing what is recommended and you are bringing halal to your house. كالمجاهد في سبيل الله is that person who is doing jihad for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So bringing halal to the table, it's really, really hard, and it gets harder when we come closer to the end of time. So whatever you bring, it is recommended. That is, when it's halal, you are not wasting or you are not in a useless job. That is a part of it. I don't want to go into different types of jobs, but when it comes to balance them, this is what satisfaction is. You see that this is enough for now. Let me recite Quran. You don't miss out on the opportunities. One of them is this month of Ramadan, that you miss it out. It comes and goes, and when you look at it, you haven't done anything. Why? Because you are so much consumed by this life. This is what you have to draw a line. Am I being consumed by this life? Do I work to survive, or do I survive to work? Which one is it? Do I work to survive, or do I survive to work? There are two different types of people. The ones they go beyond and beyond. And if you say to them, why are you doing that much? To provide for my family. Isn't it enough? No, it must be 100%. It must be the best of the best. And you forget about the next one. There must be a line drawn that this is the part that I look at my next life. It's like having the 24 hours of the day. An hour of the day, you see this is the time of work. Let me work, let me get my halal sustenance, pay my mortgage, do this and that and that. When it comes to the time for yourself, that time for yourself, you put everything on the side and say, this is the time I recite Quran. I build my hereafter. There must be a balance. You cannot just leave it on one place. The same thing when it applies to a person saying, well, I'm just going to read Quran. I'm just going to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not going to work at all. I'm just going to sit down there, worship God, fast, pray, supplicate. I'm not going to go to work. Who's going to pay the mortgage then? Well, Allah will provide it. Allah will do it. And I'm going to just wait for the people's handouts. Is that recommended? Definitely not. You have to balance the two. La ruhbaniyata fil Islam. You cannot just go like a monk into the caves and sit down there and pray day and night and fast and recite Quran and Kareem. There is a balance. We are tested to know how to balance them. Allah is not going to give us the whole, answers for us to figure out. There is sometimes something comes to your life that you are shocked by it. You don't know how to react to it. And here is a test. Either you fail or you pass. So balance them. During the holy month of Ramadan, it's a month of mercy. Is it better for us to work or sit down and recite Quran as much as possible? That you say, okay, I work from 9 to 5, and that is enough. After 5, I'm going to have iftar when it's iftar time, depending on what time is your iftar. And then after that, I'm going to sit down and recite dua, listen to a lecture, recite Quran Kareem. Of course, we have different types of people. Some that sit down and watch shows after shows and waste their time. And others, of course, they sit down and they say to their family, even though we cannot go to a mosque and center this year, unfortunately, because of what's happening, I'm going to sit down and recite Dua al-Iftitah, and I would like for you to join me. So they sit down and join the family members, and they sit down and recite Dua al-Iftitah or Quran al-Kareem. So balancing it to the point that I give everything is haqq. Everything is haqq. That will be more recommended than a person that is more consumed by one and left by the other. When you say, no, this is not what I meant. The question says, when you say the less you have, the easier you pass into death is the actual process of death. And soul removal physically less painful if you are a poorer person in this life. Well, this is not what I meant to say. I didn't say that. I said in the next life, when you are judged, the less you had, and the way you treated that, because the more you have, there is more responsibilities. So of course, some people, they seek more. If they have more wealth, how am I going to use this wealth? To build the hereafter, or just, add to my wealth? This is the question. Here is the mukhifun, the ones they have less in this life. They are going to be judged much easier than the ones who have more. Same thing, I'll give an example. When a person comes and does his taxes, the one who is a millionaire, is he going to do the same taxes as we do? The person who has millions of dollars, does he do the same taxes that we do? The process of his taxing, the process of his accounts and his audit is way more complicated than what we have on the table. We have a couple of maybe $100,000, maybe less. That our taxes, our audits are much easier to go through than a person who has much more than us. Same thing applies to the next life. When we sit down in the next life, and what happens in the next life? When we stand there in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is judging us. The more of what He gave us, the more of standing than is. That we have a hadith, the last of the prophets that enters heaven, paradise, is Sulaiman. Sulaiman is a prophet, but he was a king. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges everyone, and He judges him. He's the last one to enter paradise. So the more you have, there's more responsibility. When there's more responsibility, it's how you deal with that responsibility. Are you doing it right, or are you failing in the responsibilities? Allah gives you some money, and that money can be used for you to build a mosque, or build an orphanage, or help an orphan, but you use that money to add to your wealth. So Allah judges everything. Allah says, well, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do this? And there's, of course, everyone is judged differently. We're not all judged. Me, Hassan, is not going to be judged like Ali. Ali is different than me. The test he went through, the money he was given is more or less than me, he will be judged. So here it's about responsibilities. And on top of that, I add to it that if I possess something, I don't fall in love with it. This is important. Yes, I have this, whatever it is, this house or this car or whatever the position is, I don't feel in love with it to the point that I am prepared to give everything I own for it. That it's all going to be sacrificed for it. No, this is not the way I behave. It must be differently, that I'm not consumed by it. I'm not consumed by it. I have it, and I know the reality is that this isn't going to be in my position forever. I'm not going to be in eternity having this. It's going to be for a time period, and that's it. That is another one that I wanted to add, that we are not consumed by it. We are not consumed by life. It is. We see life at its reality, that I'm one of the billions of people that is passing through this life. So the less I take from these positions, it's better for me to go into the next life with the faster. What I want to have, the luggage I want to have, it's like a person who's traveling, is the essentials. If you look right now in lockdowns in many countries, they tell you, you are only allowed to go get the essentials. If you tell them, no, 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 I want to go buy some diamonds, some rings for me, for my wife, some watches, iPads, whatever. They tell you, no, no, this is not essentials. Essentials. You are looking to buy food. You want to buy what is necessary in your household, then you are allowed to go out, because now it's not the time for you to just walk out and come in and go out as you please. So this is important that we remember. Now we are tested. Now we see what's the reality of this life. The essentials you are allowed. I don't know if you've seen, for example, in Australia, in Sydney, if you go to the shopping centers, you only see the supermarkets open, the ones that sell food and the essential. The rest of the clothing stores, all of them are closed because they're not essentials. You don't need them. It's not necessary for you to have them. You have whatever you have at home, just go by your day and just make it until everything goes back to normal. Same thing applies for the next life, that if I have more, is it going to be my best interest to have more because of the responsibilities? Did I do what it was asked for me to do? As we said, في حلالها حساب وفي حرامها عقاب. Another says, one of the brothers and sisters says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for the lecture. You're welcome. May Allah bless you and your family. I would like to ask, what is the significance of evil eye, stone, and what shall one do to prevent Nazarabad? We discussed this last class, if you remember. Ayatul Kursi, Qalaqil. We have ad'iyah in the book called Iksir al-Da'awat. مجربات الإمامية, حرز of Imam al-Jawad. There is a حرز called حرز Imam al-Jawad. هياكل السبعة, we have one called هياكل السبعة. Those are ahraz, you wear them. Some of them you hang them in your house, and that protects you from the evil eye. Reciting Quran al-Kareem is the best of them. If a person who recites Quran al-Kareem, Ayatul Kursi and the Qalaqil, will be protecting him from the evil eye. Another question says, Sister Jasmine says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. I pray that you're feeling better, inshallah. Thank you very much. Can I ask, it is greed? To ask for more rizq is not greed. That's why we have ad'iyat al-rizq. Greed is that you are possessed to a point that you are consumed by it. That the only thing that you think of, that how can I get more? That's why if you see the greedy, they're not acting normal. They are prepared to do whatever they can to get more. Asking for rizq for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala definitely is not greed. Asking for more is actually, you're right to ask for more. And we have ad'iyah al-rizq, we have ayat for rizq. So it's not greed. Greed was discussed. Greed is that you have hirs. Hirs is that you put more into your house, into your life than you need. There was this woman, I don't know if you heard of her or not, when it was the beginning of the pandemic, the beginning of the coronavirus. Unfortunately, this lady, she went out and she bought a truckload of toilet paper. Well, that is what we call greed. You don't need that much. And I'm sure even if she's going to live for another 20 years, she's not going to use all of it. A truckload of, and they called her a millionaire because of the prices of the Alhamdulillah, now everything is back to normal in many countries. But this is what greed is. You are seeking to have more of what you don't need. You don't need. That's what greed is. I have that much, it's enough. In some countries, a friend of mine actually called me from one of the European countries, I will not name it. He said, we bought another fridge and we filled it up with meat and vegetables, and because we are scared, we don't know what's going to happen. The other day I was speaking with him in the beginning of the month of Ramadan. He said, everything is back to normal. Everything is back to normal. And we found out most of what we bought is spoiled. So this is some sort of behaviors you see these days, unfortunately, that is not needed. But will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still fulfill it as your choice? This is after a father. Another question says, Salaam alaikum wa alaikum assalam. What can one do to reconnect with Imam al-Hujjah, Imam al-Mahdi, salamullah alayh? Dua, 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 dua al-Faraj. The Imam, salamullah alayh, says, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fi ta'jil faraji. So he hastens my reappearance because fi faraji farajakum. Remember your a'mal. When you do your a'mal, remember Imam al-Hujjah, salamullah alayh. Whenever you recite something, remember Imam al-Hujjah, salamullah alayh. Don't forget, Imam al-Hujjah salamullah alayhi is gharib now, stranger, that he needs us to remember him, the Imam salamullah alayhi. Whenever you recite ayah, surah in the Quran al-Kareem, say this is part of it for Imam al-Hujjah. Whenever you recite a dua, part of it for Imam al-Hujjah. There are other things that are recommended with our a'mal, dua al-ahd, for example, every morning after Salat al-Fajr, if you recite dua al-ahd for 40 mornings, you become one of Imam al-Hujjah salamullah alayhi's companions. Looking at the life of the companions of Imam al-Hussein and seeing what they did to be worthy enough to be companions of Imam al-Hussein, to be companions of Imam al-Hujjah. And I have covered this in my Muharram lectures. If you look at it, there are many features or virtues, if you want to call them, characteristics they possessed, that if you want to reconnecting with Imam al-Hujjah, you also is recommended to have. One of them be that they were true to themselves. When they were there, they were there. They were sincere. They did not fear death. They were prepared to give everything for their Imam. And one of them actually said to the Imam, Sayyidi wa Mawlai, if this life was the end of what we know it, and there was no hereafter, I'm prepared to give my life for you. Looking at their life, and of course there are more that we don't have the time to cover. Looking at their life, the life of the companions of Imam al-Hujjah, the companions of Ahlul Bayt, the good companions of Ahlul Bayt, obedience to the Imams gets you closer to the Imam salamullah alayhi. So another question says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Good question by one of the brothers or sisters says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. It is very difficult to create contentment, especially when this world puts so much pressure on one to succeed. One is judged by their knowledge, wealth, and appearance. How would you recommend one to stay away from such temptations? Well, first of all, brother or sister is asking that question. You're not only the one judged. Even me, I'm judged. Every individual is judged. But that judgment, is that justified? Because anyone can judge you. And most of the time is not justified. And on top of that, am I seeking the rida from Ahlul Bayt and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that I want to make Ahlul Bayt and God happy, or am I seeking to make everyone happy? Because it's never going to be enough. whatever a person does is never going to be enough to make everyone happy with them. That is the part that we must look at. They might judge you of what you have, what you wear, what you drive, what you live in, but it's never going to be enough to a point they say it's, that's enough for them. Some people, they have that quality of not judging others. The ones that judge, of course, we spoke about this, I think, in one of our lectures, that we said the ones who judge others, they must look at their lives first before they judge others. You cannot be saying to your neighbor, mow your lawn when your lawn is worse than his. Get up and vacuum in front of your house when your house is worse than this. That you look at the people's mistakes and the people's less, or whatever they have that's less than you, and you don't look at your own life, that I don't have many things that I have to work on myself. So of course life puts a lot of pressure on every and each one of us, but looking at the reality of life, of what this life is this life for eternity, that it's really going to be in my best interest to just make them happy? And people will never stop talking. Musa ibn Imran said to Rabbil Alameen, Ya Rab, I have a request from you. I want you to answer my prayer here. Moses saying to God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, yes, Moses, what is it you want? He said, can you stop people talking about me, judging me, talking about me? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Musa, I haven't done that for myself. People judge God. They say, why did God do that? And I'm sure you heard of it. Why did God give him and not me? You're judging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said to Musa, I haven't done that for myself. You wanted me to do it for you? The people that don't judge you, that they don't question you, they don't ask you, they don't put you under the microscope seeing what you have done. Unfortunately, we have individuals judging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not even happy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are they going to be happy with you? So looking at the reality of it, looking at the true picture, take a moment and sit down by yourself and thinking, am I consumed by this? Am I taken into it to a point there is no return? To a point that I have made my life just to satisfy others. And I'm thinking that with this, I'm going to get happiness. And forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That how can I make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy? So judging people by their appearance, by their wealth, is not what is recommended. And looking away, ignoring that, is one of the parts that a person must look at. That how am I going to get out of this? With what we have in these nights, Shahr Ramadan al-Mubarak, if any person you sit down in the community with, mu'min and mu'mineen, the mu'minat and the mu'mineen, and you tell them, is it better for me to go to work 12 hours or sit down and recite Quran al-Kareem? Of course they say Quran al-Kareem. Why? Because this is an opportunity, golden opportunity to reconnect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ. So all that you come and accumulate and you bring it up and you add in your life, thinking, well, in the day of judgment, this is going to be good for me, it's not going to be good. As some of the dead in, I think it was in Egypt, that when they mummified them, they put their wealth with them. They buried them with the wealth, with the gold, with the silver. So why? Because when you go through the next life, if you want to pay your way through going to paradise, you have to have wealth. So some people, they start digging them up, taking the wealth, taking the gold and silver. When they came up with this saying, well, if you do that, you will be cursed. So the idea was that if this person takes his money with him to the next life, his gold and silver and diamonds, or his jewelry and all of that, she's going to be passing through the next life. So that was the idea. But the reality of it is not that. The only thing you are allowed to take to the next life, the only luggage you are allowed to take to the next life, to the safar of akhirah, is your good a'mal. Your a'mal are the only thing that defines you. Nothing else defines you in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you stand there and Allah is judging you, it doesn't matter of which family you come from. It doesn't matter of how wealthy you were, how powerful you were. Allah judges you of what you have done, your amal. That's why it's said in the book of Hadith that the slave goes into paradise because of his good amal, and the master goes into hell because of his amal, because of his inferno, because of his amal, he goes into inferno. Another question, and the last one, inshallah. I don't know if it's brother M or sister M. Hi, please would you add me to the house of lectures and notifications? I'm not receiving when the lectures is also the link for past lectures. Thanks. The link for the past lectures on YouTube, is that what you mean? The YouTube ones, inshallah, I'll put them on the Telegram page. They are always uploaded right after the class when they are uploaded on YouTube. One of my brothers here uploading them on YouTube, and then he puts the link on the house. I check with him again today, see what's happening. But they are uploaded on YouTube, and they are later on the link is put on the Telegram page. I conclude with these, brothers and sisters. There are some other questions, inshallah. I will go through them in the beginning of the next class. I've been saying that since last classes, but inshallah on my Wednesday, you Tuesday, inshallah I'll go through them. There's another question that says Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. There's I think 3 more questions. We will go through them inshallah in the beginning of next class. I did take a screenshot from them, and inshallah we'll go through them. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for once again coming to this class. I ask for dua, especially with the reappearance of Imam al-Hujjah salamullah alayhi. We conclude with dua al-faraj, and inshallah in these nights we are getting closer to the nights of Qadr. Don't forget me in your dua. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma kulli waliyik al-Hujjah ibn al-Hasan salawatuka alayhi wa ala abaihi fi hadhihi as-sa'a wa fi kulli sa'a waliyan wa hafidha wa qa'idan wa nasira ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشف صدر الحسين بظهور الحجة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.